Before the fire is turned up under our pot, there are several further ingredients to add to it. Mullah Nasruddin wanted to undertake a spiritual discipline, but he decided to test it on his donkey first.
Mm-hmm.
So every day he gave his donkey less oats to eat, until one day he went into the barn and there was his donkey laying dead. So he looked at it and thought to himself, what a very great pity. If he'd lived until tomorrow, I would have had him eating nothing. And then the mullah, as we know, he had many occupations, but it so happened that he was out of a job at the moment because he'd gotten on the wrong side of the Sultan as a judge. But there's one thing that the mullah knew, and that was donkeys. So he decided to go back into the donkey business. So he went down to the animal marketplace and he walked around the market inspecting the donkeys that were for sale there, hoping to get a bargain so that he could resell it. When he turned a corner, and there was a young man with a very fine-looking animal. He looked it over and he saw that its haunches were in good condition, had good skin and good hair. So he asked the young man how much he wanted for it, and the young man gave him a very reasonable price. So the mullah handed over the money and took the lead of the donkey and led him away. But it was a long way home, so he decided to stop at the coffee shop on the way. So he tethered the donkey outside and went in for his cup of coffee. But when he came out, instead of there being the donkey tethered there was another young man with the donkey's collar around his neck. And the mullah went over to him and said, "Where's my donkey?" And the young man said, "Well, I have to thank you, because you know, a sorcerer had changed me into that donkey, and because you bought me, you broke the spell." Well, the mullah was a bit aghast at that. He's paid good money for this donkey, and here he is, he's got this young man here, there, but he said, well, you know, at least be grateful for my saintliness that I freed you from this curse. So the mullah went home, not very satisfied with his day, and the next day he went off down to the marketplace again, inspecting the donkeys in the market, and there, just around the corner again, was the donkey from yesterday. So the mullah went over to it, put his mouth to the ear of the donkey, and said, "You're not going to fool me anymore. I know that you're human." So you'll have gleaned from the stories of the last few days that the point that's been made is the fickleness, the changeability, the impermanence of existence or life as we know it, at three levels: the nitty-gritty level of cause and effect, that level of intuition and dreams and magic and spirit, and that level that is described as the one where we recognize the interrelatedness of life, bringing them together as we must, we arrive at the state of Satchit Ananda, existence, knowledge, and bliss, the three levels of life, or more accurately, mind. But we've asked questions these last days. That question, first of all, being, what is this that remains when human love is transcended? The consensus was that what remains is love. And the question, what does it mean by the absence of illusion? Now let's turn up the fire. The story has been told of late days of the group of disciples who said to their master, "Master, we would like to build you a house where you can rest and present your teachings. Will you show us where you would like it to be built?" So the master led them through a winding path through a forest, which led to a running river. And the master pointed to the middle of the river. And the disciples said, "But Master, we cannot build your house in the middle of a river." And he replied, "Have you not yet realized that to taste the breath of the divine, you can use the building blocks of existence to make a bridge on which you can walk and cross, but you cannot build your house with them." What does this imply for us in our quest, in our endeavor to answer the question, what is it that remains when human love has been transcended? And what does it mean by the absence of illusion? What does this story mean for you? What is its deep meaning for us when these questions are asked? And we can no longer use the tools of mind to find the answers. How then do the answers arise? From where and how? What's the meaning of this story? We can use the building blocks of life to make a bridge on which we can walk and cross, but they are of no use. We cannot build a house with them. What is the deep meaning of this story?